I think it felt like a win at the end there. I think you could feel it in the stadium. Everybody appreciated our efforts and our work, and as long as we do that, that's got to be a given from now until the end of the season. Obviously playing against Fraser, my best mate, good friend, played with him for many years, and yeah, he was my next door neighbour for a while, so playing around with my son in the garden, he knows the penalties and you know, mucking about.
So did you have a chat with Fraser before that penalty was taken? Were you exchanging a couple of words?
No, I tried not to look at him because I knew I'd laugh, but no, I mean, more importantly, it was you know, imperative I remained focused and you know, stuck to my technique and my practice. So thankfully it came off.
I'm really upset because this is not the first time, and I think today I can tell you that this is unacceptable because you are winning 3-1, you have to win. I see a lot of negative situation. I see a lot of selfish situation that I don't like.
The crowd helped us for those last 15 minutes to be there, and then once we scored the second one, then we have all the energy of the goal and then all the momentum. We scored the 3-3, and then yeah, I think it's a little bit more than a point for us. It's a magnificent performance, and I will stay with that, and I will prepare the next weeks based on today.
It's important the spirit. It's important the person, the heart that you put into the pitch. I'm seeing much more last season than this season. This season, instead to improve, we are going to lose what we gain with a lot of work last season.
Well, if you thought he was strong in that post-match interview, he properly went off in his post-match press conference. Have a look at this.
They don't want to play under pressure. They don't want to play under stress. Yeah. It's easy in this way. And Tottenham story is this. 20 years that there is the owner and never won something. But why? Only for the fault is only for the club or for every manager that stay here? And I have seen the manager that Tottenham had on the bench. You risk to disrupt the figure of the manager and to protect the other situation in every moment. And now, until now, I try to hide the situation, but now no, because I repeat, I don't want to see what I have seen today, because this is unacceptable. There are 10 games to go, and something thinks that we can fight. We can fight for what? With this spirit, with this attitude, with this commitment. For what? For the 7th, 8th place, 9th place? I'm not used to this position. I'm really upset because it's time to change the situation if Tottenham wants to change. If they want to continue in this way, they can change manager, a lot of manager, but the situation cannot change, believe me. Thank you very much.
Surprised he didn't pick up the green mic and just drop it on his way out. Look, you're in a squad and your manager publicly has used words like selfish, no heart, no commitment, can't play under pressure. What are you doing as a squad after that?
Gaffer, can I have a word, please? And I'm going to have to pull him. I'm going to have to pull him as a senior in the dressing room. You'd have to go in as a couple and just say, listen, what do you mean? You know, you point your fingers at me, well, then tell me to my face. Don't go to the public and say it. Keep it in the dressing room. I think his points are just come out of just pure anger and passion to want to do better. However, to do it in public, I don't think personally it's the right way to get a response.
I think it would be interesting. What was the conversation in the dressing room? Was it the same as what he said, or was it something different? Did he say the same things to the players to their face, or did he just come out and say that afterwards?
Is that a man? Look, he's had a difficult season personally, as we keep saying. Is that a man to you who looks like he's tried everything else, and if I've got one more tactic, it's to hammer them in public?
Well, I think he's had enough, and I think a lot of the things that he's saying, most people would agree with the football club. It's the way he says it. I think that what I didn't like, it was almost like he went, "This is nothing to do with me. It's everything else." Well, you can affect. You are the manager, and yes, I know they get through a lot of managers, and it seems to be the same story all the time. But when we go on to analyse the game later on, he can affect some things that are happening on the pitch.
Well, let's look at that then, because they were 3-1 up, and they'd been quite adventurous. They'd caused Southampton lots of problems. And then at 3-1 up, they against the bottom side.
Yeah.
They seem to sort of go into their shell.
Yeah, they go into their shell, and I don't know if it's just the players that are doing. They started off. Let's get it right. They started off very positive. First half, the shape was good, the width was good. I mean, look at the wing backs. How high they are. You know, trying to get to really good goal scoring positions. Trying to make sure that the three centre halves stick together as well. And what they do is they do it 2 or 3 times in the first half, and it works, and they look very good and they look comfortable. Look at this space here. Lovely first touch. Smashes it in the back of it. I'm thinking, here we go. This could be the change. This is the second half. This is 3-1. Spurs are 3-1 up. They've gone into a 5-4-1, and they will not move out of this 5-4-1. Now, as a player playing at 3-1, I'm thinking you cannot automatically go into a 5-4-1 if you're winning 3-1 unless you've been told.
OK, so, and as a fan, if my team did this, I'm thinking, is this a player-led thing? Is this a coach-led thing? Who is the responsibility on, Ashley, to get them further up and a little bit more back to what they were doing?
Well, what I will say is I don't know what they've been told in the dressing room if they're in that scenario. But as a former player and a captain, I would be saying, if I was in there as Eric Dyer or somebody, one of those centre halves, get off my toes, get up a bit, put some pressure on the ball so we can squeeze up, because we should be full of confidence right now. We're chasing a Champions League spot. We're playing against Southampton, and we want to go on and play. I don't think another team in the top 6 would sit back in that kind of shape. I don't see what you get from that. You're just on the ropes waiting for the other team to score. I would be, no matter what the manager said at half-time, at times like that when you can see it not working, I would be saying, can we get some pressure on the ball so I can get my defence up and we can get higher up the pitch?
Harry Kane is 10, 15 yards away from his back four. You know, and they don't move out of that. I don't think it's a player mentality to do that automatically at 3-1. But
by doing what he's done publicly, he's talked about the history of Tottenham over the last 20 years. He's talked about his players. Is he asking Tottenham fans to take sides in this? And that could be for the players. It could be with him. It could be with the board. All of a sudden, he's laid open everybody to criticism, hasn't he? Yeah. I think he's basic. Listen, I think what he said, you know, a lot of it is it's honesty and it's the truth. But I just think the way he's done it is wrong. I'm not sure that he's going to get the Spurs fans on side with doing that. If I was a Southampton fan, I'd be shouting at us now, going, right, you've done.
What about us?
What about us? So how does Southampton harness what James Ward-Prowse said there at the end? That felt like a win at the end.
Well, that's momentum, and I think Ruben Sellers has done a good job as he's gone in, and we have to give credit to them because we've highlighted how Spurs dropped off. But to be fair, Southampton could have thrown the towel in at 3-1 down, and they didn't. They kept pushing and kept pushing. OK, Spurs might have made it a little bit comfortable for them, but for them to come back against a team that, you know, are fighting for Champions League, it's something for them to keep building on. And the way the league's going, with teams dropping points everywhere, if you can pick up some momentum and a few wins in a row, you can find yourself up the table.
And to harness that, particularly where it's been so difficult for them at St Mary's this season.
Absolutely, and it's easy when you're down there. Having been in relegation, it's easy when you're down there to go, oh, no, not again. And then you accept it. They didn't accept it, Southampton, and they just came out fighting, got themselves a valuable point.
Right, we have highlights.